an excellent panel in terms of the three speakers. You will hear very little from me just at the start and the end. But the three people we have speaking tonight are very well placed to actually pick up this topic. First of all, we have Victoria Navas. Victoria Navas is a fellow councillor on the Chamber of Commerce, but she's also, more importantly for this role, the head of Gunnar Cook's immigration team. And her work covers the immigration for both businesses and international corporations who are seeking advice on how to move abroad and also how to work lawfully and effectively in the UK, the EU and the Americas. She's qualified in Brazil, Portugal and England and Wales as a lawyer with more than 25 years of experience working in law firms and financial institutions in all three of Brazil, New York and London. Next to speak, I won't interrupt in between them, will be Maggie Castro. Maggie is a senior client partner for Korn Ferry's fast-moving consumer goods and consumer products team. She focuses on recruiting C-level executives across the consumer practice in different geographies. She's using, in doing that, not only a decade of executive search experience, but before that, her own C-suite experience, because she actually spent 15 years as a corporate marketing executive in global multinational organizations, then became regional CEO of Kodak, before serving as Chief Executive Officer of Viva Stampa, which is a first-class boutique winery in Chile, and a job I suspect many would envy you. Finally, after the talks that they've given in terms of going through the new immigration system for Victoria and talking about the job market post-COVID for Maggie, Alessandra Frubel from Tramontina is actually going to give an example in terms of what all of this means in practice. And for any of you who don't know Tramontina, I know it from years ago in terms of, and look it up because it's an excellent brand I can highly recommend. And I'm not saying that because he's paying me, honestly. But Alex himself, as managing director of Tramontina here in the UK, with over 10 years of experience here in the UK, has got that solid experience of working in the consumer goods industry and of course the need to recruit within that. So I will stop talking. I will pass you straight across to Victoria. Thank you, Victoria.
Good evening, everybody. I am going to share my screen here with my presentation. Just give me a second, bear with me. So here we are. This is my presentation, and thank you, Colin, for this introduction. I would like to thank also to Brazilian Chamber of Commerce for being here tonight and being able to bring some of the information to the public in regards to immigration. So first today, I felt everybody is going to receive this presentation, and you have here the three presenters for you to keep this presentation. So if you need to contact us, you can always find us in LinkedIn. I will start telling you guys that the 31st of December 2020 was the year for the change on the immigration system in the UK. And we had left the EU. We have now absolutely being a new system practicing in this country. And also the new system that I'm talking about now, it has a little bit of the past, but has a lot of stuff that is different, and people are getting confused because there are some of the point systems from the past that were brought to this new system, but some new things that came through. So it's absolutely important that if you are going to be dealing with foreign employees, you need to be aware of the new system, and you need to be aware what is valid now. And basically, I would say kind of forget the past because it's not exactly like too much valid legislation that we were using anymore. But with this leaving of the EU, I think we would have more job opportunities for countries or people from countries that were not in the EU at all. And what I mean is, today, if a person is in Europe, like a German gentleman or a French lady, and they want to have a job in the UK, they would have to compete with Brazilian in the same level that Brazilians never competed before, because in the past, Europeans had the right to live here without any problems. Nowadays, the Europeans and the Brazilians will compete in the same level, and this is quite interesting to see, because for a long time, Brazilians were always like afraid of applying for jobs here, because they always thought, oh, I will never get a visa to work in the UK, as they have all this labor force around that were available without any problem. That's not exactly the case. So now we have some kind of types of work visa that came up with this new regulation, and there are many. You can see here, it's impossible to talk about all of them, but I wanted to give you all the names, because as the presentation is going to be to everybody to keep this, you can always come back and take a look to see if you are fitting any of that, or a friend or anybody. So you have this kind of works visas that are several of them, I would say, from the past, like the seasonal worker, the skilled worker, but we have a very different one now, the graduate route, the frontier workers. So these are new categories that did not exist and now are in place since the 1st of January 2021. However, to hire a foreign person, every company needs to have a sponsorship license. And when I say every company, I say this because there is a study from the CBI that says that only 5% of the British companies that employ people in the UK have already the sponsorship license. So what I'm trying to say is 95% of the companies that employ people do not have the sponsorship license. And the sponsorship license is absolutely necessary if you want to employ somebody from abroad. So if today you are thinking, well, I don't need anybody in my staff right now, I don't need to have the sponsorship license. But you might need, for example, for the second semester, a person. Think about the situation that a sponsorship license takes between 8 to 12 weeks to be approved or not after it is applied. So there are loads of times and documents requirements to be able to prove. And just to leave this for later is not an option. It's really not an option. When Maggie is coming to talk here, she's going to talk about the employment, like the people here that are looking for work and this kind of categories. And what I can tell from my clientele is that there are going to be a shortage of people available. So if your company doesn't have a need now, but will have a need in the second semester, you will need to start doing this sponsorship license. You will not be able to find people in the market to hire. And then if you need to hire from abroad, you will need the sponsorship license. So this is absolutely important. And doesn't matter the size of your company, even charities need a sponsorship license. There is no difference between one and the other when we are talking about hiring people. The companies that have the application of the sponsorship license will have these routes that are listed here to employ people. The skilled worker route is what we used to call tier 2 visa. The intra-transfer company is the same as the past. The Ministry of Religion is for, of course, religion category. And sports person was a category that is separated from a skilled worker. In the past, sports people used to be categorized inside the skilled worker, and now they have a route by themselves, completely separated. And it's, again, very important to know, because nobody can hire anyone in any category without that sponsorship license that I mentioned before. Well, we have also another category called temporary workers. Not necessarily you need a worker that will be coming to your company and you will need the person for a long period of time. There are some what's called seasonal workers in the UK that come to work in agriculture. There is absolutely a new category called graduate route that is for students that are finishing their studies from this year onwards. So this category also has the religious worker for a short period of time, not a long period of time. So they are very much a different kind of worker that's not for a long time, but for shorter time, but still the companies or the charities or the clubs or that are related to sports, anyone needs the sponsorship license. So sponsorship license, I will stretch here, it is absolutely important for companies to have. And you cannot leave for later because they will be getting more and more applications and the time is going to get more and more difficult. The skilled work route, I think, is the most important to mention here, just because a lot of people would like to work in like skilled jobs. And working in skilled jobs, you need to pay attention to this following list of requirements. So you have to have a job offer from the company that has a sponsorship license. So if the company that is offering you the job doesn't have this license, they cannot hire you. And this is sometimes very frustrating because people come saying, oh, I got a job offer, but I cannot wait the amount of time the company needs to apply for the license. Of course, the job has to be compatible for the field that you work. So if this is the area of your job, your work, your experience, and there's always salaries that the government will list according to your experience and the area that you work. So it's very important that the salary is matching what the government expects that you're going to win. You are not going to make or not going to be able to get a visa if the salary is lower than that. Maybe higher, definitely. Lower, no way. There is a need of an English knowledge. It's what we call B1 level. B1 level, it is something like an intermediate level. The visa is normally done on your country of origin. Sometimes you can switch in the UK, so it's depending on your situation. There are home office fees, and there are also what's called immigration health surcharges that are the fees for the medical that you have. And these fees are something that exists for a while now, but not for a long time. But one good thing that changed, it is that we don't need anymore to advertise the position in the newspaper. So in the past, to be hired in the UK to go work for like as a foreign person, the company would need to put the advertise in a newspaper, in the job center, saying, I'm looking for somebody for this job position. And if they didn't have, then they would be able to find a person from abroad. This is over. This was changed when the legislation came in force last year with the change on the whole immigration rules. And this made it easier and I would say faster and also cheaper because the advertise costs money. So it is one of the benefits of this change in the legislation that we don't need to advertise, we don't need to look in the labor market internal now if there's anybody for that position in exchange for that wants that job and then you can go abroad. No, whoever you want to hire, as long as the person is like capable for that job position and you are fulfilling all the other requirements as an employer, etc., you can choose that person. And one other visa that's also very important to mention here, I think, is the sole representative visa. This is a category for people that wanted to come to start a business in the UK. Could be the business that they're coming to represent, and they were an employee of this business in Brazil. They were a minor shareholder of this business in Brazil, or they were hired specifically to come to UK to represent that company from abroad. And when I mention Brazil, it's just an example, could be a company from Portugal, could be a company from Japan, could be a company from any place. Because as long as you are coming to represent a foreign company, an overseas company, you are under this category. And this category is to set up a branch in the UK. When I call it again a branch, could be a branch or could be a subsidiary. It does not have a difference between both of them for the home office, okay? You have for tax-wise several other issues, but not for the home office. And this representative person will get a visa to stay in the UK for 3 years. They can renew and get 2 more. And in the end, the person will be able to get what's called indefinite leave to remain. That is what is called like the green card in the UK. It is an exceptional kind of visa because the company doesn't need to have a minimum capital or a minimum investment. It's absolutely easy to do this visa as long as, of course, you fit the purpose for the company. And normally, this application has to be done outside the UK. To be done inside the UK only in exceptional circumstances, like last year we had the COVID, where people were not able to travel to Brazil or to other countries to apply. But nowadays, this situation has changed and people can travel and can apply from abroad. This visa needs a business plan. You cannot be just presenting this with an idea. So you need to prove to the immigration that you have a proper business plan, how to open this branch or a subsidiary here, how to make this business work. But besides that, it's absolutely feasible. And at last, I leave you here my thank you. Of course, I will leave it for the end with for the questions because I have Maggie coming to speak with you guys. Thank you very much.
Hello, everybody. I hope everybody's fine. And I am Maggie Castro. I work at Korn & Ferry and I do positions of executive search. That means I search for managing directors, for presidents, CEOs, directors in general. So, and I'm gonna share a presentation with you. So how are the trends on the talent landscape? So let me just share, just bear with me. I'm gonna share my screen. Wait a second. Okay. Okay, hope you can see it. So again, pleasure to be here. And let's start just with the trends on the talent landscape. What I'd like to tell you first is just a reminder. I know that Vicky said about, Victoria said about the need for English. Because I do presidents and general managers and all these big positions, you know, very senior positions, perfect English is a requirement. And doesn't matter your accent. If I hire some French, they have this very French accent, which is kind of cute. And but you have to know how to say whatever you need to say in perfect English. So number two, it's like everybody's saying now. I took something from the London Loves Business. I'm not sure if you know what it is. It's a page that says things about London every day. So. And on March 23rd, they sent this paragraph that I loved it. So the virtual is now the norm. Kind of, because people are really struggling to stay just in the house. They want to go back to work, but nobody's going to go back. At least the majority is not going to go back to 5 days a week. The majority will go back to probably 2 to 3 days a week. In my company at Korn & Ferry, we are coming back at least 2 days a week. I'm already going on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So, and on top of the virtual, another big movement that we can see, it's what we call DNAI. It's like diversity, equality, and inclusion. So what would have taken years to have diversity in companies, now you're having diversity just like that. So it is, in diversity means we guys, we are not from here, at least the non-English in this room, let's put it this way. We are not from here, so we are diverse. Diversity is not only women, it's not female, it's everybody that's not really from whatever the country that we are talking about. So there is an understanding that we have to have a broader sense of the market, and having different people with different mindsets in that specific company is going to help the leaders better assess the market, which is totally true. Another very interesting change that has happened, as I said, this COVID accelerated everything because everybody's in the house. So the omni-channel space grew and really grew big, like B2B and B2C, led by digital shopping. And that created a new go-to-market. Instead of just in person, that you'd go to a store or go to a supermarket, now you have remote and digital self-service interaction in equal measures. And what does that imply to the talent landscape? Implies that everybody that I have to hire now, presidents, directors, they have to understand that. They have to understand the digital. Somebody that is still in the past, just, you know, in-person type of market, these guy needs to reinvent their skills and really go faster to keep up with the changes. Another very interesting thing that goes against what diversity that I have just talked to you is that 77% of men in US think they share the load at home equally with women, while just 40% of the women agree. So what's the consequence? 1/4 of corporate women in America are thinking of leaving their jobs. That's totally unfair to the woman. But, you know, just for you to know, this is the behaviors that are also coming. And some of the women here too are already leaving the jobs. And the diversity has become even more complicated just to have a woman in this sense. But another good thing came out of all this COVID thing. Because of you have heard a lot about mental health. Mental health now demanded for better bosses, like a mindful, empathic, self-aware, kind of a servant leader. 75% of Americans say that their boss is the most stressful part of their workday. It is unacceptable, isn't it? If you are a boss, and I have been a boss myself in the past, of course you are there to help them do their jobs. That's the role of a boss, to help them grow. So I always say that you have to be kind, be thankful, be positive, be well, to really lead as an inspiring leader, not lead just by that bossy in the past. So this is a past behavior. The new behavior is mindful, empathic, and self-aware type of leader, what we call servant leader. Another trend that's very important, as I said, the executives need to be agile, and because an agile is transformed into curiosity. If you don't know what's going on in your industry, try to see what it is, because everybody needs to accelerate innovation and change. And if you're not part of this group that is really agile, that understands what's going on, most likely you're not going to be part of the company for long. That's what I'm seeing. And as I said, D&AI, diversity, equality, and inclusion. So it's gender, ethnicity, and being from Brazil can be a plus, which is very good for us. So what's going on now? The market is disruptive. From 2 years from now, I'm here in UK for 3 years now. So since I got here, the change, and COVID really brought a lot of change. The change that this market that I do also, like marketing directors, commercial directors, it has changed. The demand now is a different demand. So the key implications for this disruptive environment is that the company needs to have people, they are prepared for faster adaptations, curious, as I said, executives. You have to increase your ability to master even higher complexity and ambiguity type of jobs. Is it easy? Sometimes it's not, but then you have to see how am I going to go get prepared for that. Nowadays, the companies that we go after executives, as executive search, they ask us to do assessments. Any company you're going to ask, you to do assessments. During these assessments, it's an online assessment. Then you have a consultant that's going to interview you to see if you are agile, if you have clarity on your mind and everything. And companies, they really pay for that. So you have to increase your ability to be fast, and that means curiosity. And then goes to review your leadership readiness. You have to be self-aware versus a peer that, am I good enough? Am I doing everything that I need to do? And the market is really changing. Whoever is being behind, it has always been kind of like that. But now, because the disruptive business, this is increasing even more. And I said that we have to drive AAA, alignment, accountability, and action on everything that we do. And here goes together with what Vicky has said. So increasing structural scarcity of critical talents. If you see on those two graphs, so you can see Brazil here, and today the deficit is not that much. They say it's a it's a mild deficit, but if you say that a huge deficit is going to have in the future to come in Brazil, that's going to be huge. Here we don't see that much, but we're going to, we will see some. But this may not be 100% accurate, but take a look here. What's going to happen throughout Europe? That's really going to be a disaster on talent, because we have to develop, or the company have to develop a clear understanding of future skills and capability gaps. For instance, as I said, omni-channel, the executive need to understand that, analytical skills, E and Q commerce, e-commerce and Q-commerce is like this fast commerce that you have to deliver in 30 minutes. Leadership skills. Do I have the leadership skills that, it's required right now? And we have to do this. We have to do our self-assessment. The company will attract and retain what they call mission critical talent by understanding and meet unmet needs for this specific person. If you are not seen as mission critical talent, probably you're going to be set on the side. And I have seen this as well. So companies are reshaping sales and marketing and operations, careers. They really want everybody to unlock their full potential faster than used to be in the past. Companies that see that you have a potential to grow, they will put you in trainings for whatever you need. But you also have to understand what are your gaps and work on your gaps to be, I always say, ready now to be, your boss, to be ready now to really occupy any position that is there for you. So companies are trying to connect the new and old world by advancing their organizational context. So of course you cannot simply eliminate what was old. If you used to be a director of sales for Tesco, for instance, all of a sudden you cannot just do e-commerce for Tesco as the company. You still have to have somebody there, but yes, you need to have someone else there that does the online for Tesco, and these two needs to talk. And not in every company those two executives, they talk and they understand. So that's a very interesting analysis that you have to do from yourself. So how to be ready now? You have to train yourself. I always say that. Not wait for someone to tell you what training to do. Be ready now. It's the best way for you to be seen by anybody in the market. I receive sometimes the same CV of people like GMs, presidents. They said, oh, Maggie, now I did this other course as well. So have my new CV in your list. They're always updating themselves on whatever the gap they understand they have. But that's their choice of doing it. And that's very important. It's your choice of upgrading yourself. Let's put it this way. It's your choice of upgrading yourself. It's very important that you understand what it is that you need to do to be ready now for your company. And I'm going to be open for questions as soon as all the presentations are over. Okay, so thank you. And now I give you to Alex to continue with the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you, Maggie. Good evening, everyone. A huge thank you to the Brazilian Chamber for the opportunity, and also to Victoria Nabas for the personal invitation for me to be here this evening. So, well, in the same way as the others, I will just share some slides here. Let me just get the screen shared. Brilliant. Well, I hope everyone is seeing my slides right now. Well, as previously said, my name is Alexander Frubel. I'm talking here on the behalf of Tramontina. We are a Brazilian company. The company at all was founded in 1911. Today we have 10 factories and we export to more than 120 countries. It was quite nice to listen to Victoria explaining about the visas, because the one I hold, or I used to hold until a few weeks ago, was the sole representative. So I was appointed by the head office in Brazil to come here in the UK and set up the company, the branch or a subsidiary company for Brazil. So I hold this sole representative visa for 5 years, and a few weeks ago I got my leave to remain, in definitive leave to remain in the UK. So I don't need to keep renewing my visa every X numbers of years. So of course, next step for me now would be the citizen next year, actually a year from now. But yes, I would definitely recommend at this stage, at this point of the presentation, to really speak with the professionals in this area. It's not something that companies coming from abroad would like to do by themselves. It's a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of other stuff that when we come here, we must focus on the business. We must focus in opening the marketing, in opening these new doors that we are supposed to enter, and having proper people at our side will make everything much easier and much faster, and for sure cost benefit would be much better than trying to do by ourselves. It's going to be always missing a document or a whole program of how to do the business plan. So people are here to help us. So as I said, we came here in 2016. We set up the Tramontina UK, and now 5 years later, we are with more than 300 customers across the country, and we also work with all these countries in Europe. When we set this map, it was even before Brexit, but after Brexit, we have to do some amendments, but we're still doing relatively all right in these markets. Of course, we are now looking for the next steps, where is going to be the next targets for us in terms of new branches or new warehouses, new logistics systems. As you can see, it's like 10 countries here where we coordinate the brand. Just for your knowledge as well, we share Europe in two. So we also have a sister company in Germany where they deal with the other countries in Europe. And then here, getting a little bit closer to what Maggie was saying, it's very brave to fulfill a CV with all what we can do, and I do encourage everyone to keep updated, to keep ourselves moving and improving and learning. Myself, I did MBA here in Greenwich, in executive MBA. This really was an open mind for me because I had customers working in the NHS. I had customers working from other countries. So it was a mix of experience, not only personally speaking, but very professionally as well, because sometimes you just stick with the idea or you just talk with the people in your industry. And in the end of the day, you don't share other point of view. So it was very, very constructive for me, and that's something I definitely would advise anyone else that will have the opportunity to do as well. But a part of this, it's something intangible here as well that I would like to call the attention, because most of the time it's very important if I'm especially talking for companies that come abroad and they have this mission to put the flag in this new market. So it's very important for everyone or anyone that will be applying for a job, they could understand in which moment the company is or what is the aim of these companies. So that's why I just pointed here a few topics for us to pay attention. So the brand awareness, so how to be loyal with this customer. So if you're gonna be in touch with customers of say Tramontina, how you're gonna handle this relationship, how you're gonna enter in this culture, which is so hard to penetrate. So if you're gonna be part of this family, how you're gonna be prepared to keep on this hard work. Same stuff for, as Maggie said, qualified stuff. So how can you get a product knowledge? How can you understand more about what you are selling or what you are offering? Business skill, how to behave in front of a customer, or it doesn't matter the industry you are, but there are so many other ways of pursue what you are looking for. Nowadays, the supply chain is something really in vogue. So is the sustainable product is in vogue. So you must commit with the community. You must be responsible. You must understand and comply with the products you are putting in the market. And of course, the ambition. So if we are here, if all the challenges we are facing here in the market, sorry about that, if with all these ambitions, with all the challenges we are facing in the market, of course, we will look for people that will follow the same dream. So it's very important for who engages or who applies for this sort of job, they understand or they fully understand what exactly or which is the way that the company is tracing. Any doubts, of course, I can answer later in the Q&A. Again, my name is Alexandre, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, Alexandre, and thank you to all three of you, to Vittoria, to Maggie, and to Alexandre. I think that already gives us quite a lot of food for thought in terms of the fact that the scenario in terms of talent is changing and how actually people need to deal with that. So there's a couple of questions already on the chat. If other people want to raise questions, they can either put them on the chat or they can put their hand up, or they can actually just speak out. We can do that too. But before we go into some of those, I'm going to raise a question first with Victoria. The sponsorship license, that both shocked me and frightened me in the sense of, you know, if that's applying for all countries, and put that together with some of what was being said as well with Maggie and potential deficits coming in terms of qualified staff, so there may be more need to actually look overseas, we could be facing a major problem later in the year in terms of actually pushing things through the Home Office. Is that right?
I absolutely agree. I think, Colin, you got to absolutely the point. And I was so happy that Maggie said exactly about the shortage, because my clients are being already telling me this, that there is a shortage, and the shortage, I think, is something to expect, because UK has been always like a place that a lot of people want to come, and companies, etc. So there is always a lot of very good brains here, but always need more brains. It's something, the economy continues and the economy is recovering. And if the companies do not do their homework, that will be the sponsorship license, they don't have how to hire these people. So I've been telling companies over and over since last year, you need to do your sponsorship license, you need to maintain also because they expire and you need to renew it. And some companies are just like doing now, what is still okay, but some companies want to reply to me today, oh, we don't know when we're going to do because we don't know when we're going to need. And I was like, okay, but when you need, and you come and tell me you need for next month, I will tell you it's impossible because it will take this amount of time. Alex is here is my example that he knows how much paperwork is needed for a sponsorship license. It's really a pain. We need to like ask the clients, I need this, I need that. And home office takes time also to analyze. So it's not something to leave for later. It's something to be done now.
And a quick follow up on that. In terms of that license on a passport, there is a way to fast track. It costs you more money, but you can do it faster. Is there anything equivalent for a sponsorship license?
There is, but it's up to the home office to decide if they are going to give you the right of fast track. It's so funny this because what happened is for some companies, and normally they decide to do this with bigger companies, they will email you after you apply and say, if you would like to fast track, you have to pay this fee and then we will fast track. But if you haven't received this email, there is no option. So I have clients that ask me, I want fast track, but I want to pay this fee, but it's not your option. It is the home office. And last year, because of COVID, they were not fast tracking anyone because, of course, they were COVID, everybody was working from home. This year, I got one client that was fast tracked only, and all the others were not. And some of them are really upset because they say, why not me? Well, it's not, I don't choose you guys. You're all my clients, and I treat you all the same. It's the home office that chose A or B.
And Maggie, when you've got people that are actually looking for new talent, are they actually taking this into account? Do they come to you and say, we've got our license, we know what we're doing here? Or do you find that they don't think that anything has really changed? You're on mute, Maggie. It happens to all of us.
Sorry. Some of the clients, all of them, if they have not keep up with the pace of what's going on, they really don't know what's going on, outside the market. So they want to hire this skill. So they want somebody first. Let's put a marketing person or a customer experience director. That is something that everybody wants right now. And that understand, as I said, omni-channel and everything is around it. It's very interesting how you have to position yourself as somebody that I know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to help this company by doing this. And how do you know what you're talking about? If you're curious and you go after the trainings that are out there and you keep up with everything that is going on, I can tell you, Colin, this was very fast. What's going on? Very fast. But you have to keep up with your own, training, as Alex also said.
Yeah, but it applies, I guess. It's not just the individual, it's almost the company level as well sometimes. But the companies that don't attend events like this suddenly find they have a problem.
And the company, for the company, is even sometimes they want to know how they do it, how they can do it. And they do organization redesign. Then they go for other type of consultants, even inside Korn Ferry, that's how I know, to see how the big companies are doing, how they can redesign what they're doing right now so they can be more profitable. It's a lot of other questions. It's not only executive search. There is something called organization redesign, and the CEOs, they go into this category to ask for help.
Right, thank you. Okay, I'm going to pick up a couple of the questions in the chat. So one of them was actually asking about the fact that being from Brazil could be said to be a plus, and exactly why, and also what are some of the characteristics you can see that make Brazilians a good fit. And I'm actually going to ask that to you, Maggie, but also Alex, from your point of view. Working with a Brazilian company, working here in the UK, what have you seen in terms of that? So Maggie first.
Being a Brazilian, we have this, we all know that. We have a different spicy calling.
Yeah, but that's what makes it fun.
And we can be more communicative. We are more open as a culture. And I think that adds value on a cultural environment that people are quiet, are kind of more serious. And everybody says that in the work that everybody that I come there, I'm always laughing and making jokes with everything that is going on, because that's our nature. And that is a cultural difference from everybody. You may not be as smiling face as I am, but anyway, we are different from whatever the culture you are inserted. The same way they're going to consider different an Italian, a French, or, you know, anybody that's not purely from here. We can take advantage from this now because of what Victoria said, that we can position ourselves, yes, as I am, you know, a diversity type of person for any company in here. Just forget about being male, female, gay, whatever, that doesn't matter. Just by being Brazilian, you're already diverse. Yeah. That's good.
I can share the same view that Maggie in terms of culture, and indeed we have something else. In our particular industry, I would say we go the extra mile. So, and for that, I presume, because probably we're not confident with the language, so then we already think we are behind, and then we need to do something more to catch up, and from there to prove that we are able and capable to keep on. Another thing, but again, very specific from our industry, the Europeans are very proud to say made in Italy, made in Spain, made in France, made in Britain. So for me to come here and say I have a product made in Brazil, well, if it's not a very exotic food or a flip-flop, or it's something different to give this message. So again, I need to find a way to drive this extra mile and to prove that we are able to be in the same environment as they are.
That's a very interesting point, and that's a whole seminar in itself, I think, in terms of that perception and reality gap. Yeah, exactly.
We can talk later.
Yeah,
I
no,
have
that's true. Yeah, there's sort of, you know, when you think about it, how perceptions of countries often are behind where the reality is. You know, I picked on you because I know the products, but you know, you have top quality products, but it's not an automatic because it's made in Brazil, it's top quality. Exactly. So yes, it's true. It's absolutely true. All right, I'm gonna switch gears slightly in terms of picking up two different points together, if you like, and it's around some of the home office strategies, and I'll aim this particularly at Victoria. So Livia has asked, what's the best strategy to get a sponsor? So from somebody who's actually looking at getting a work permit site. And then Eduardo's asked about the home office and whether they should have simplified the process even more, and maybe look at that from both the point of the applicant, individual applicant, and from the company side.
I'm going to reply backwards, so I'm going to start with Eduardo. Eduardo, I don't think they will simplify at all, because it's been always a very, I would say, conservative market in the sense of hiring foreign people, okay? This is something that is being always, I've been working here 19 years, and it's always been the most difficult visa to obtain is the work visa, and the most difficult kind of qualities that you have to have in that work visa in the past. Nowadays, the companies also. So I think that it's very difficult to imagine the Home Office changing this for anything more, I would say, you know, easier or more simpler or whatever. I don't know. I don't think so. But I think that what they did now, removing the labor test, that advertisement that I mentioned, it's amazing, because it's a saving of time and money on that.
Oh, yeah, I remember doing that. Yep.
You can go direct to the candidate that you want. So if I want Alex, and this is the candidate that I want, I don't need to check the market. I go to Alex, and I said, this is the candidate I want, because I think it fits the purpose, okay? And replying to the other lady, Aline, I think, no? I think the important question is, how do you get a job in the UK in a company that can sponsor you? I think Maggie can help me on this very much, but my experience is that British companies hire via recruiters. My experience, as at least like a lawyer and for clients in general. It's very difficult to see like a companies, well, if companies advertise in LinkedIn, like you can go after, but there are a lot of recruiters that are in LinkedIn, and I think LinkedIn is the best tool to look for a job, where you can see a person, for example, like Maggie. Maggie is specialized in one niche. So you have to find in the niche that you work, what are the recruiters in that niche. I always tell this to lawyers, because some lawyers ask me, how do I get a job as a lawyer in the UK? Find these recruiters that work with the legal field and go after them. It is very difficult. You don't send like CVs to law firms. They will not look for for a person like that. And it's the same in several industries. And if the company wants you so much, I will tell you the company will do the sponsorship license, because it's not only you. It will be you, maybe the first, but we're going to have a second or third, etc. There will be no option for companies in the future to hire as we had in the past. So I don't think nowadays is a disadvantage at all as was in the past. Okay.
Maggie, do you want to pick that up as well?
Well, I can tell you that these type of, as Vicky has said, because I work with really a niche, it's very difficult to go for LinkedIn to find a CEO. That's not going to happen in the world that I work with. If somebody wants, imagine that tomorrow Alex is going to be the regional GM, not only UK and Ireland, supposedly, and you're going to be Europe, or they're going to put you the world GM, whatever. And somebody wants to find his successor. I don't think they're going to go to LinkedIn. I think probably they're going to hire some executive search company to do this job, because it's a very important position. But Vic is absolutely right. Whatever you have middle managers or people that they don't need some specifications, they can go to LinkedIn. But even though we work a lot, you see with the companies that would like to rely on us to bring their best team to the, to the companies. Because Connie Ferris is a total methodology, it's another story.
Yeah. Okay.
But Vicky is totally right. The best way for you to find a job now, if you're a middle manager, you go to LinkedIn and be sure to have the right wordings on your title, because when these companies look for somebody, they look for the title, and you have to have very good whatever you have done on your title, and then the rest is consequence. They will find you.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, so as we round up, I'm going to ask each of you from the legal side, from the recruiter side, and from the corporate side, just to give your one piece of advice, that 1 minute piece of advice to those who are on the call right now, in terms of what they should go away and do or think about as they leave this seminar.
I think that from the point of view of companies, I would say you need to start thinking your sponsorship license now. You cannot think it for later, for the future, because you'll be late. And I can guarantee you that you will be having to suffer a little bit on hiring because you are waiting for a sponsorship license. From the point of view of the person, I would just say change your mindset. In the past, yes, people used to come to me. I would say, yes, getting a work visa is very complicated, because companies wouldn't prefer to give. Change completely this. Put your mindset now. I'm now competing at the same level as Europeans and everybody in the whole world. There is nobody except who already lived here that is going to compete different from you. So go after the jobs you want, get a very good CV, make your LinkedIn very good, and then yes, go show yourself, because you are not in disadvantage anymore.
Thank you. Maggie?
I always say two things if I have to give any advice on a career side, let's put it this way. First of all, be the best version of yourself. Do you think you are the best version of yourself right now? If you're not, be the best version of yourself. And number two, be generous. Generosity has payback. Whenever you can help somebody in your company, just do it, like Nike. Generosity has a payback. And anybody that you see in front of you that you think that you can help by being a mentor or by whatever, just do it. I have always tried to do that in the companies that I work in, and I always have seen how people that have done it, you know, helping other people, they have succeeded faster. Okay.
Alex?
Well, my two pieces of advices would be for companies planning to go abroad. They should have already done it. It's fantastic out there. Opportunities are here. It's so much less complicated than Brazil, than what we hear from there and what we know from there. So here, it's not the same wild world as it is inside Brazil. So they should come and they should try. And I'm sure if they the goodwill, if they have the goodwill, they will succeed and they will bring more Brazilian brands into this world and make our country more known out here, Europe or any other continent at all. And for employees or people trying to apply for a job, my only advice would be we don't hire people to be hidden in chairs. We want them to be stars. We want them to tell us what they are able to do. We want them to help us to build this dream. We don't just give jobs to people and that's all. You know, we are all in the same boat, and it's very exciting when we talk to someone that you can see in his eyes, her eyes, that they will help us to go through this. You know, so that's my only piece of advice.
Perfect. Now that's a really good note to finish on. So we know, take action now, whether you're the company or you're looking for a new job. Be the best version of yourself, which I think applies at all levels, and actually just show what you can actually do. And that way, yes, there are some complications, like anything, but actually the complications are not that bad and you can get over them. So thank you all very much. Thank you everybody for listening. I hope you found it useful. You know where to reach our speakers, and please feel free to reach out to them. And in terms of the steak knives and the churrasco knife, we didn't answer it. I don't know, Alex, if you want to finish on that point. Where do we buy good churrasco knife? I have mine already, so I don't need to buy them.
It's gonna be very hard for me to give names here. Otherwise, I'll be tendering from one side and not to the other. But for sure, go in Google UK, and you will find loads of options where you can find us here.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Cheers.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Bye.